Welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind with your hosts, Jay Harmon and Sally Barnard. Jay and Sally have always wondered what the inspiration is that drives others to create and express their art. Inside the Artist's Mind, we'll dive into the mind of the artist and teach us more than we ever knew. Enjoy the show!
Hi, and welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind. And my name is Jay Harmon, and I am so happy to have my co-host Sally Barnard back with me this week.
And I'm very happy to be back. A whole month I was gone. Well,
I know,
not gone,
we really missed you.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
But on this show we like to talk to people who have creative minds and where they get their ideas and how they formulate it and what they do with it. And we would like to introduce today our guest, Erica.
Thank you.
And she's a communications
Coach. Yes.
Okay. And I will let her explain a little bit about where she gets her inspiration and how she works with people and what she does.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate being on your show today, guys. So what I do is I work with people and I help them to lean into their authentic voice. So however you show up in a room, the way you hold your body, the way you express yourself, the impact that you leave, the influence that you have, all of these things are within your own command. And when you're able to tap into it and really hone it, you show up in a completely different, magnetic, energetic way that leaves lasting impressions. And that's what I teach people to do.
That's so interesting. I find that so interesting since I do have my show too. And I was actually joking about the fact because I am a communicator with my show, but I channel. But to see how, you're actually explaining it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I guess I rely on my spirits. But that's very interesting. You also mentioned holistic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm a holistic empowerment coach.
Okay.
Communication is just one portion of that.
Okay. Let's explain holistic empowerment coach.
Holistic empowerment. So my tagline is empowering your mind, body, and voice. So how do we empower all of those things is, number one, realizing what it is that you want. Who do you want to be? Removing the things that are in the way from being that person. And then just go, just full go, no stop, no hiccup, just full belief in yourself. So with health, obviously you gotta move the body, you gotta eat good foods, you have to think happy, healthy thoughts. So holistically, I help people with the whole package. Communication is just a part of that, but it's really just being in your body, creating a healthy, happy space for yourself in order to express yourself the way you want to.
Which was the first, when you started doing this, did you put the two together or did that come a little bit afterwards?
That is a great question. This holistic empowerment coach that kind of bridges all the gaps for me is somewhat new. It's within the past month because I have been super passionate about communication and teaching people to really hone their own voice. At the same time, I have had my own struggles with health, wellness, mental health throughout my entire life. And I'm a person that once I learn something that works for me, I can't keep it to myself. I want to help people. I want to empower people to help themselves. So this is something that maybe in a dream or maybe I had some help with from spirit as well come to me and really, hey, it's a holistic approach that you're taking, supplements, getting good sleep, meditation, all of these things play into the person you show up as how you communicate as well.
Okay, so you're saying that all the parts of a person all play into what you are projecting as
Yes,
as
absolutely.
yourself.
Kind of like the big package. It all goes
The
together.
whole
It all
thing,
comes
yeah.
together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just one part or another. Everything kind of
We can focus
goes
on the
together.
parts if that serves
That would
you.
be good.
Yeah, we can focus on the parts. Or if you are just like, hey, I'm open, I'm ready to upgrade. Some people in life, they find that they're ready to really break out of the old skin that they were in, and they're ready to make a big change across many different aspects of life. Some people are like, hey, I just want to work on this, or I want to work on this.
Yeah, I truly understand that because I've been I've had, in this past year, I've had so many changes in my life that I'm just really finding myself more now. And you're never too old or too,
I can
anything.
vouch for that.
You can always find more of yourself and where you
Yes.
want to go. If you're tired of your old self, you can always do more.
Absolutely.
And I find and I often mention this actually too, if you're following your passion, what that may be, everybody's passion is different to everybody's or similar. I honestly, truly believe you may think you're making mistakes, but I don't think you can make a mistake, because what makes you feel good inside, and you talk about that, you have that feeling. And I mean, even if I did my show the other day, and I was away because I had COVID, but I'm
Right.
fine now. But as soon as I was back, and even here, if you're following what you want to do, and I feel like I wanted to say that to you because I
Yeah.
knew that you were going to agree.
Yeah, it's so powerful to hear it, because it's one thing to hear it, but also to feel it.
Right.
And I think a lot of that comes from a place of trusting yourself and trusting that you are always making the best decisions for you. And it may look like a mistake, or it may look like, and it may appear like a failure, but realistically it's all aligned and it's all happening for you, however you want to define it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that when that happens and you go ahead and you're doing what you're doing, even if you feel that you're making the mistake, it doesn't feel like a mistake?
Yes,
correct?
and I
Yes.
think that's the excitement that
Exactly.
you're feeling
I-
from me,
yes,
is because
I thought that.
it's a newfound epiphany and
Right.
experience where
Yes.
I just feel more in the flow.
Yeah.
And yes, you get feedback from your environment that, says, hey, you're either on the right path, or maybe, change and open up and see things differently. But really believing in yourself.
And it doesn't matter what
doesn't
people
matter.
say,
Yeah.
because if you're feeling good about it, although
Yeah.
you may have made a mistake. I mean, you
Right.
can make a mistake in your passion, correct? But once
Absolutely.
you follow that, people are not even going to notice it. Right?
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
And you're your own judge and your own jury.
Absolutely.
So you can
100%.
keep yourself in jail, or you
Well,
can let
you
yourself
can,
off the hook.
you can be your worst critic,
Right.
right?
Totally.
Or you can be your best
Advocate.
advocate.
Yeah.
And I know you do coaching, and I think that probably comes up a lot, I'm guessing, but I just think people are
Yes.
critics to themselves.
Oh, you're your own worst enemy.
Exactly.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
And it's the biggest creativity killer,
Uh-huh.
is not being your own advocate.
Authentic.
Right.
Yeah.
And how you see yourself is not necessarily how others are perceiving you. Right?
Correct. And what do you value more, the way you view yourself or other people?
Right.
It's changing where you hold the importance, keeping it within yourself and not externally validating.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
it's great what you're doing. I think
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful motivation for people.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I know we don't know each other that well,
But
but,
it
I'm
feels
finding
like
out
we
now.
do.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
feels like we've known each other a lifetime.
It
right?
does.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And it's really good. So have you been able to really see a difference in people since you've been working with them and coaching them and so on, and what they're how they are now
Yeah, right.
delivering?
Where they are now versus where they were. So, in a previous life, before I was really focusing on this as my main thing, I worked for a construction technology company, and I was a trainer. And I know we were speaking just before around training and getting up in front of people. And I would basically train people how to use a certain app. And I would get up in front of maybe 10 to 50 people for 6 to 8 hours a day. And
Wow.
I would do the whole spiel, and I'd go through and do the live demo. And over time of doing this, I eventually moved up and I had a team, and then I ran them through what I called the boot camp, and I taught them how to engage and keep attention for that long. And through that experience, I watched my team elevate the way that they are able to impact and get people to adopt this product. And I was like, there might be something here. Because if you can do it in like that petri dish, right? Within just, we're just training technology, but you're able to use those same strategies and tactics, and you watch people elevate just the way they are with all aspects of their lives. I'm like, this is really like fulfilling
I was just
to
going to say it
watch.
must be very rewarding. I was
Yes.
just going to ask you that.
It
Right.
was. So,
Yeah.
and I realized there was passion there for me. Not the passion wasn't so much on the technology, which I was at the time, but watching how I could help mold somebody into a better version, a more aware version of themselves.
And so you see, it's not just in their what they're doing in their vocation, but their entire life probably changes because of that, right?
Yes, because at the core of what you work on when you work with me, and this isn't something I put out there like, this is what you're going to get, but it's about understanding who you want to be, and do you believe that what's the gap between who you are and who you want to be? And are you willing to put the work in?
Okay.
And I want to work with people that are, because if you're in, put the seatbelt on, we're going full speed.
Going for it, yeah.
Because for me, self-growth, evolution of mind, body, and spirit is all that we are here to do. So I
when
believe
you're
that.
doing this with somebody, have you ever had somebody, because you'll see, this is what you do, so you can see it, but let's say you point something out to them.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little bit sometimes, right? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear
right,
sometimes.
Yeah.
What I tried to do is create a space. I call it building a designed alliance. You start with that at the very beginning. And what you do is you create a space. Literally, you have, these are my asks, these are your asks, we agree upon this. And some asks I'll have is, okay, confidentiality, let's be present, let's stay open, let's be honest, right? So you create the space so that that person feels like comfortable being vulnerable to getting feedback and giving feedback, because it is a two-way street. Because if I'm going to get better at what I'm doing, I need to hear how is it working for you. So keeping that open allows, I think, people to hear sometimes uncomfortable feedback, but understanding that it is crucial to the process of growing is getting feedback.
And the fact that they know that's what they're there for,
Exactly.
obviously that
That's
helps
what you're
both
paying me to
both of you.
do.
Exactly.
Is to give
Yeah.
you the
Because if you
feedback.
suddenly came up to somebody, it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
what we were talking about what I do, and I give you a message.
Right.
What are you doing?
Because I
But
think
I see
people, people don't just want to know what they're doing good. They want to know how they can improve.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not just, well, okay, I got this down, but what about everything else?
Right, and if you're looking in a certain, specific place like business, like, okay, how do I present my business? How do I present my brand? How do I get more clients? I mean, that's kind of I'm not gonna say easy, but it's contained, right? But if you're working with someone and they just want to hold more influence or be more commanding in the way that they speak, it's not specific to like making money. It's just they want to have their true voice be heard.
Okay.
When you give feedback around that, you have to tread lightly, because the reason people are the way they are is because of years of conditioning. And just like how we were mentioning earlier, you constantly have to take stock of your beliefs and are they serving you? So when you have that conversation, your delivery in which you have the feedback is super important.
I see that.
No,
So, go ahead. No, go ahead.
How can you take somebody who is like having a problem to help them to become more assertive?
Yes, that's a good question. So if someone has a problem, the very first thing I will encourage them to see, I'm going to reframe it. So when you come with a problem, you're going to come from it from a place of problem. Okay. So the first thing is we're going to reframe it into, okay, let's figure out the solution, and then we'll backtrack from there. So it's reframing that nothing is ever really a problem, but it's an opportunity. So the minute you can get people to change, all of a sudden, now we have some space where we can create. So your question is how do we get someone who has a problem? Rephrase the question.
If they have a problem with their personality, maybe to become more of an assertive person.
Right. So that's also, if somebody wants to be more assertive, there's a reason why they are not. So a lot of what I do too is asking questions, almost like an assessment.
I was just going to say like a therapist.
Yeah,
in a way,
you
right?
do.
Yeah.
You do, because unlike a therapist where it's like they
No,
want
I wasn't relating to you as a therapist.
Right, but like unlike that where you want to let them kind of do the work, I have to be a little more prescriptive because there is an end result that they want to achieve, at least like on paper. But if somebody wants to be, in your example, more authoritative or more commanding, we have to figure out what's in the way. What belief do they hold that prevents them from actually embodying somebody who is more authoritative and more commanding? So it isn't just about how you speak or the level in which you speak. It's the way you hold your body. It's about the beingness of it. So the thoughts, I'm commanding, I'm authority, I'm, magnetic. Those are great. We can do affirmations all day. But the real change, the real transformation is in recognizing where you're not that and really feeling into that space. And it's uncomfortable.
I was just going to say, do they feel when you're pointing something out to
Yes.
them? You must in your mind too.
Yes.
So how are they going to react? Which
yeah.
of course you've got to do to help
It's not
them.
for the faint of heart because, I mean, think about a caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly.
right.
Like that's not an
Yeah.
easy process. I mean, you're literally recreating everything in the body to come out differently. So if you're willing to put the work in and you're not afraid at looking at parts of you that are holding you back and taking action to make change around that, you can do anything.
Do you explain that in the beginning? They're
Yes.
aware of that,
Yes.
because
Working with me, you
Right.
learn
I see
these
that.
things about my process very early on. And that's why it's a holistic thing.
And I like how you say this. It's a process.
Yes.
It's not a thing that you're just automatically going to change. It's
No.
going to
It's
take
not a
some
magic
little
pill,
time.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing you're doing, Erica.
Thank
It's
you.
very nice.
Thank you.
Very good. It's needed very much.
Oh,
so.
it definitely is a thing that I think a lot of people in a lot of, I don't care what your business is or
Yes.
Even socially when they're out, at least they're feeling good. You're feeling
socially.
good about yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Even just for me talking about this, I get
see
so
it.
excited.
Yes, I can
It's
definitely
just
relate to
the
this.
passion
I
comes
see
out
it. Yeah.
because
I see
for
it.
a long time, I think there's a thing for when you grow up and you don't have something or you want something or you see something but you're unable to achieve it. When you finally get to the other side, you want to share that with people because it's part of
because
what
because
makes you
because
you.
this is what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, like, look,
yeah.
guys, like, I had this huge struggle. And then if you can create strategies and process and workflows, because I have that technical mind as well, and you can package that and teach that to people, and then you see it change and people are growing, I mean, like, what better job is that?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm biased with it.
No, and I feel exactly the same.
Right.
And I think that must be lovely because the people that you're talking to are then going to feel the same for themselves,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yes.
it
That's
works
the
all
idea.
around everywhere.
And again, not easy. It's
No,
not
it's
easy,
not.
but
sure.
the road less traveled is
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
taking.
But I think the people you work with have to really engage themselves into this. They have to
Yes.
be.
They have to be very honest, I would say.
Yeah,
because
You
I mean,
have
they have
to
to
be.
really want this. They
Yes.
can't just be saying they want it. They have to really want
It can be very trying. It can be brutal in moments. But it just depends on how bad do you really want it.
You probably get a lot of
Yeah.
laughter and a lot of tears,
There,
right?
yes, and it's also for me as well because
Sure.
everyone I believe is a mirror of you, and that's the reason you connect with people you're attracting on that frequency. So as they're unraveling or unlearning things that don't serve them, you're part of it.
Right,
You're part
right,
of the
yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Very interesting.
wild.
Very,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it.
No, I totally can relate to what you're saying, although it's a different, I'm doing
Different
something slightly
approach.
different. It's
Yeah.
a different approach to what I'm doing, but that feeling is the
Yes.
same all around. Which we had
Absolutely.
said, follow your passion.
but I-
whatever your passion is,
Whatever
you're
it
gonna, if
is.
you're doing the right thing, you get that feeling that we're
Right.
getting.
I think no matter, it doesn't matter what your kind of business is.
Exactly.
It's because it's all the same what you're trying to achieve.
And in reverse, when you go to work and you're depressed,
Right.
it's the same thing. You're not doing what you're meant to be. Well,
Totally.
people do it, but
Well, there's
you
a
know.
reason why you're depressed.
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
depressing
Yeah.
yourself because you're not allowing your full passion, joy,
Potential,
purpose to come
everything.
out.
Right, yeah.
That's why you're depressed.
So you can, I guess, mentally change that. You can, your attitude,
Anyone
everything.
can. I facilitate, I create a space, and I think it's important because it is a paid for service. When you put money behind something, you naturally are more invested in it. People don't
Yeah.
value things
Right.
that are free as
Right.
much as they do when they
Totally
pay for
agree with
something.
you, yeah.
So if you are willing and ready to make a huge change in your life, whether it's across, health, wealth, movement, I do Reiki, I do Pilates, I do meditation, breath work, or communication coaching. Any of those pillars, you put energy into that, you will see huge change in your life.
And you'll always go in the right direction
Yes.
with that particular person too, and
Yes.
yourself, of course, for yourself too, which is important too.
Because we all
Absolutely.
have an authentic version of us that wants to come out and wants to be
Yep.
fully expressed.
Yep.
But the world that we live in
Yeah.
does not allow us to fully do that in a way where we
Right.
feel validated by the external.
Right. I think just the world around us kind of stifles our.
It does.
It makes us inhibited.
Yes.
Right, to do what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Because of all
Society,
Because a lot of it is
standards.
contagious. If somebody is
Yes.
depressed, they talk to somebody else and they can become
Oh,
depressed.
misery
But
loves company.
Exactly. So what you're doing, and I can relate to that too with what I do.
Yeah.
If you're happy and you're showing them
Right.
there is another way,
Right.
and this
Yep.
is how we do it, how
Yep.
can you go wrong?
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's what I believe, that I try to be positive
Exactly.
with everything, and let everybody see that I'm positive, and if I can be positive like this, it can spread.
It's
It can-
contagious.
Sure.
And I think really the gift that you get when you decide to put work into yourself in any area is
Absolutely.
you create more sovereignty in yourself. You don't have outer referral as much anymore. You don't
Exactly.
care about getting validation from society, family, friends. You're living
Exactly.
in a way that you feel is just in alignment with your true spirit.
It's an inner contentment, and
It
if you haven't
is.
experienced it,
That's
you're not
right.
sure what
It's
it
pure
is.
freedom.
But it's absolutely
That's
it's
right. You-
freedom from
you-
everything, from control,
Yes.
from
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. You don't have to have somebody telling you it's okay.
Right, right.
And
how freeing can
because
that be?
you have to have that inner feeling, it's okay.
It's okay. And realistically, all the rest of the things that are out here, it's not real anyways. So if you've been going
Exactly.
your whole life, and I can speak to this, I've made many decisions in my life around seeking approval from family, friends, specifically my dad, even to the point like with the decision to go to architecture school and to get my degree. I was like, that he'll be proud of me to do that. And when it hit me, which we won't go into the whole story of like when I had this epiphany, when I realized my entire life was a series of decisions made in order to get external validation, I was like, whoa, I am not in the driver's seat of my life, and I want to be.
But that was what gave you the motivation.
Totally.
So
Totally.
if you haven't experienced that,
Yes.
yes, can you still do
You
this?
need the contrast.
But you need
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Can I
Absolutely.
relate so much to
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're saying? It's
Yeah, I-
amazing.
I hear you. I mean,
yeah,
it's
beautiful. Yeah, it's coming out with our
It is.
passion.
It's
our
true.
passion, right?
Totally.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but it's so much like when you're not in the driver's seat
Right.
and you want to get there.
Yeah.
And that's the change. How do I do that?
Right.
And,
And,
it's,
and there's people out there like you, Sally, like myself, like you, Jay, you do this, you funnel this through the way you do your art. We all have our gifts that we bring and we share with people, and it gives them the imaginary permission slip to get out of the back seat and to move into the front seat.
So that's what you're doing is so very important, because
Right.
if someone's coming to you and they suddenly, because you feel it.
Yes.
You feel it immediately.
Totally.
Right? But the more you go on that feeling, the more feelings you're going to get about what you're
Right.
doing. You're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. It's
Thank you.
unbelievable. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah.
That's why I know it's good. See, I love
That's
the
right.
external
That's what we're saying.
validation, but at the
no,
end of
you
the
can
day,
still have
it
the
just
external, but you
feels
No,
just
it's
rely on
great.
the external.
Exactly, and that's the
where the key
difference.
is. You rely on your own self. Absolutely.
yeah, you
yes.
don't have to depend on anybody
Don't
else
have to, even
know
the
you're
way you-
doing.
sovereign,
Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So, okay, and so anyway, right now what we'd like to do is to take a commercial break, and we will be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and a grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like people, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40 plus works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
Welcome back to Inside the Artist's Mind with Jay Harmon and Sally Barnard. To be a part of the conversation, call 888-994-4995, Studio A. Now back to the show.
Hi, welcome back. And right now, what we are going to do, we are going to talk to Steve Sperling about the art of cooking.
Which is my hobby.
Which is his hobby, and he does it very well, according to his wife.
Yes, you cook very well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And according to you, you try to get away from the external validation. That's why I cook, for the external validation, to see how people enjoy my food and my creations. And I started cooking as a young child. When just before the Sabbath, I would help my mother cook everything for the Sabbath, from the chopped liver to the chicken soup and everything else, and became just very interesting to me and very appealing to me to be able to learn how to do this. And I never went to cooking school. And I'm not a professional chef or anything like that, but over the years, really, I had to cook for my own survival after my first, marriage. I was alone, and all of a sudden, I had to feed myself. So I had to start to get more creative, and I did. And we have some pictures, I believe, that'll come up on the screen.
Which we happen to take sometimes, right, while we're eating.
That's
you have
right.
to take a picture of this.
That's right.
Oh,
And, there we go. Yeah.
And that's my bruschetta, and I've made it the same way for years, and people have eaten it.
There's another one. We got something
Okay.
else.
Oh my gosh.
That's just kind of a creation. When I
Steve, we got more coming up.
Oh well, they keep coming
Sorry.
up before I have a chance.
Oh, I
to
love the
talk.
presentations.
Yeah.
How
And
you
that's
We're just showing the
to me.
presentation of it.
beautiful.
When I cook, I get an idea in my head, and I cook all types of food from that's Cuban arroz con pollo. I call it my gringo arroz con pollo.
Ooh,
That's a
yummy.
rack of lamb, and there'd be another picture of it cut up,
Can you hear the passion? You see the passion?
yeah.
You can
Oh
suddenly
yeah,
see it.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an Asian, shrimp dish with the snow
Looks
peas
delicious.
and rice.
We should have some samples.
Yeah, I'm feeling very.
Wow. Yeah, this is...
What's that?
That's an Italian shrimp dish.
I think I remember eating
that. And when we spoke about this earlier. I cook with my eyes and I cook with my nose, and I really don't know what I'm going to do before I set out to make something. I create it on the spot. I know what my main ingredient is going to be. Obviously, I have to cook with fresh food, but I'll go to the pantry, I'll go to the refrigerator and see what's there, and. That's just the rack of lamb cut up. Now the presentation could have been better. I could have put some sprigs of rosemary there, but it just was perfectly medium rare for a rack of lamb, which is the way I like it.
Yeah.
Was it good?
And
I actually like it a little more well
Oh,
done.
you
so
do?
I don't think
And
I,
you-
I would
wasn't
like this one.
I
Yeah,
wasn't there when you did that.
That rack of lamb was made on an outdoor gas grill.
Really?
Two processes. One is the grilling process. The other, I use the grill as an oven. And I didn't read how to do that. It's just something that
so
just came
that
to-
your haven't worked professionally.
No, and I often thought about the prospect of working professional in the culinary industry, but there's two things really that kept me from doing that. One is if I open up my own restaurant, 90% of all restaurants close within the first year or two. It's not a good investment. And number two, if I were a chef in a restaurant and I had to cook for a living, I think the enjoyment would go out of it. I enjoy cooking for my family, for my friends. My greatest accomplishment, I think, in cooking was one Thanksgiving about 25 years ago. I cooked Thanksgiving dinner for 23 people in someone else's kitchen. Now that's something that not everybody can do, so I can take pride in that. And pride is a very big part of what drives me in cooking and presenting.
I know that it's the presentation has so much to do with it. I have my son-in-law is a chef at a big restaurant, and what he does, he makes these meals, but they're just so great to look at. You don't even want to eat them. Because they're, but they even taste better than they look, and it's an incredible thing.
And that's part of my philosophy in cooking. If it looks good, it probably will taste good, and it works out 99.9% of the time for me, anyway.
Yeah, and that's why it's culinary is really an art.
It is.
Because what you're doing there, you're making something that's it appeals to the senses, to all the senses, and I think that's what it makes it really really special. Because
Sally will tell you the joy that I get in creating something and putting something in front of us.
Well, I can also say the joy that I get in eating it.
Okay, well, see, there's that external validation that I'm looking for. And
so we haven't been doing a whole lot of cooking recently.
Yeah,
but that's okay. We're doing good. I know that you can cook, and I don't have to.
Well, thank you for that. I've taught people how to cook. I never cook from a recipe. I'll never go to a cookbook and look for a recipe. I always create it.
Oh,
in
really?
my head.
So you create it in your mind what you're going to do,
and it stays in there. And I try to cook it exactly the same way, and it really doesn't work. Cooking something the same way, the same time, all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, back in 1992, before Hurricane Andrew, I started to write a cookbook. And the title was I Never Cooked It the Same Way 2 Times in a Row Cookbook. And it was going to be variations on various dishes. And I got through the introduction and chapter 1, and then Hurricane Andrew hit, and the computer was destroyed, and I never got back into it.
Never went back to it.
And I always say that one day I'll sit down and write it. Maybe I'll retire and write that book. But I think we all have something we should have done and didn't, and it sits on the shelf for a while.
Well,
so maybe I'll do it.
We're ready for it whenever you're ready to make
okay.
it.
You notice how quiet I am because I cannot interview my husband.
You can.
I'm not usually this quiet.
Yeah. And nothing scares me in cooking. I'll cook Cuban, I'll cook Asian, I'll cook Italian, I'll cook Jewish. Any type of food. It just comes to me how to do it, and because I can visualize. How things are supposed to look and taste.
That's a great thing to have, to be able to visualize, something in your mind. I mean, I can see something in my mind for doing my artwork and seeing what is going to come out. But as far as food, I can see something, but I could never do it. I mean, it's a whole different art.
When did you first find out that you could cook and people liked it in the presentation of the food?
Probably in my late 20s.
Okay.
Is when I really started to cook with any degree of consistency and creativity.
And did you notice when people are eating it, they're going, "This is good"?
Yeah. I'm going to say something. I'll say it in front of my wife. I mentioned before that I started cooking like after my first marriage, and so I was alone, and I found that the best way to get a new woman interested in me was to cook her a dinner.
Smart.
and that worked out very well. But
I do remember you cooking me a meal when we first met.
Right.
Still works.
Yeah, we know each other 25 years. I mean, we were never a couple. 25 years ago, we met through the industry that we were working in. But so we've been friends for a long time and married almost 2. And
that's when you stopped cooking.
no.
What's Sally's favorite meal?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
What my favorite meal?
That's,
I knew it.
Or what's your
That's
favorite meal to
okay.
cook for
I'll
her?
let you off the hook because you haven't been cooking.
I know what you would prefer. I not cook,
Yes,
and it's
I
my
do
favorite
that.
thing to
That's
cook.
a good answer.
I'm probably my best genre is Italian, and it's not Sally's
Yeah.
favorite food.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's a catch-22.
That's fine.
really.
Yeah, I'm very envious of you because I'm by myself and I'm not a cook. So I enjoy many different cuisines by going out, and so but I always wish, I wish I could make that.
Well,
But
we'll have you over. We won't charge you much.
Oh, okay.
Invite me too.
Okay.
I like
Of
Italian
course,
food.
of course.
And that's another
And I'll
thing.
leave because I'm not that keen on Italian.
There you go.
No, I do like Italian food.
It was it became very great for me to have dinner parties.
Yes.
And that external validation you spoke about. And interesting and kind of a funny story, we had somebody, not Sally and I, but earlier in life, we ran into somebody that we hadn't seen in many years, and so we invited her and her husband over for dinner, and with another couple, and I went all out. I mean, there was I cooked a French meal with beurre blanc and things like that, and then we never heard from the other couple, for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we were wondering, you go to someone's home, you make a follow-up phone call, thank
Right.
you, we enjoyed ourselves, why don't you come over, 2 weeks from now, and, we'll host you, and finally we found out that they were so intimidated by what I did that they
really?
could
Oh,
not
my God.
reproduce
They
what
couldn't
I
follow
did.
up.
So I said, that's so silly. Invite us over and order a pizza,
Yeah,
But
that was a big
we
compliment.
never saw them again.
You never saw
Wow.
them?
Never
But
saw
that
them
was a
again.
big compliment in a way to your
That's
test
right.
your
At first,
cooking.
I was, I thought maybe the food was awful,
Well, that's would be probably
But it was
everybody's
too good.
fault.
but then I realized it was
The other way around. Right.
Wow, isn't that
Right.
isn't that something?
Does
So,
your son-in-law, who's the chef, cook for you too?
Well, if I lived up in Sanford, he would.
Oh, so it's a long way to bring the food.
Yeah, he's always inviting me every time I've gone up there. He always invites me to the restaurant, and we get this huge spread that
I'm
that
sure,
that he puts out, and he comes in, and my grandson also works at the restaurant. He's a waiter, I guess you call
so
him.
he's in training. he
And
also?
so he's there, and my son-in-law will prepare the food, and then my grandson will come out and explain everything,
Oh, how
what it is, and and it makes it so much more interesting when you know a little bit of the background. I mean, because you can see this beautiful meal, and you say, "What the heck?" So it's but when you understand a little bit about what they're doing, so anyway, we have to go.
That was
we
a
have
great.
to,
Wow, that was
thank
so
you guys.
fast.
That was
It
a great
was,
show,
and I'd
both
like
of you.
to,
Two totally different topics,
Yes.
but it
I
was-
know,
Did
but
I hold
it-
my own after Erica?
we.
you did.
We'll invite
wondering
you
how
for
you'd
another
follow that.
meal.
I really was
So,
wondering how we were going to.
Anyway, we'd like to thank our guests. I'd like to thank Sally for being returning.
Thank you.
And so thank you very much for watching us today. And we hope if you have a creative mind you'd like to come on our show, please call us at 1-888-994-4995. And we'd love to have you on here to talk about your creative mind and what you make. And so please, until next time, have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching Inside the Artist's Mind. We hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week as we explore more about the artist's passions and inspirations.